Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet Rocks. Tracy here, and I'm going to show you how to do the bead stitch, which is a stitch I actually really like. I just love the way this kind of lays. So I'm going to show you a couple of ways. The first three sections were done in the traditional way, and this last part was done in a kind of an adapted way to give you more space between them. So it's ever so easy. It looks difficult, but it really isn't. And it reminds me of little Tasmanian devils or little beehives. So it's really cute stitch, good for texture. So I'm just going to clear all this away, and when I come back I'll be ready to show you how to do this stitch. Okay, won't be a second. In the meantime, if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Okay, so I'm going to use this. It's a DK weight yarn. It's a nice thick DK though, and I'm using a 4.5mm crochet hook. If you're doing this for a project, you will need darning needles and scissors. In the description box, there is a link to show you where you can get any of the items that I'm using today, even the wall genie. Okay, so this is done with a multiple of 2 plus 1 stitch. Okay, so that's ever so easy. You just make a slip knot any way you normally would make yours. Actually, that's a long tail I don't really need because it's just a swatch. And we're going to make multiples of 2. So any length that you want for your project plus 1 chain, and chain is just a yarning over and pulling through, as we all know. So I'm going to pause the video for a second, and once I've got a length of chain, I'll come back and show you how we do this stitch. Okay, as it's just a small swatch, I have done 20 chain. I'm going to do one more, as it says. That is our turning. Now in the second chain from our hook, we're just going to do a UK double crochet, which is a single in the US. So there's our first one. Here's our second. Just going to insert and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both of those. Nice and simple. And we're going to do that in every single stitch all the way along. Now, if you wanted a nicer edge, you could have turned and gone through this back bump, but this is just a swatch and I don't always do that, to be honest with you. So, you know, that is just your personal preference. I do have a separate video that shows how to get into the back bumps if you didn't know, but if I can remember, I'll link it at the end. So nice and simple all the way along. I will pause it for a second and come back once I've done that. Okay, so I've made it all the way to the end. So as this is a multiple of 2, that's basically any even number, and the only time you need the extra one is for your beginning round for the chain and to go into this foundation row. So if you were making any kind of sampler blanket or you wanted to put it on as a border to anything, then all you need to know is you just need an even number of stitches and you can use it. So going to turn the work then. I'm not going to chain or anything. I'm going to do the stacked UK double crochet or a stacked single in the US, and I'm going to do that by going into that very first stitch, pulling up a loop, yarn over and pull through both of those, and then in this one bar at the side here, I'm going to reinsert my hook, yarn over and pull up the loop, yarn over and pull through both of those. So basically at the end you can see 2 chain, but it's just not skinny like a chain would be. So now I'm going to do a UK treble, which is a US double crochet in this next stitch. So if I say treble crochet, you'll know I mean a US double if you follow in US terms. And if I say stack, you'll know which stack I mean. If it's a stack in the UK, it's the stack double, and in the US, a stacked single. So it won't be confusing. I'm just going to mention the UK terms from now on. Now in the next stitch, I'm going to make a UK treble, which is a yarn over and insert, yarn over and pull up a loop. I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2 of them, and then yarn over and pull through the other 2. And now we're going to make the bead. So we're going to yarn over and we're going to go between these stitches, and we're going to put our hook in there, yarn over and pull up a loop. Now we want it to come up nice and tall. We're going to yarn over, go back in, yarn over and pull it up to the same height. We're going to yarn over and go back in and yarn over and pull it up to the same height. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loops on your hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all but the last one, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through those two. So basically you're yarning over and pulling up a loop 3 times, and then you want to go through all of the loops except for the last one. Okay, so now we're going to skip one stitch. You can see this is the one where our work comes out, so that's the skip, and we're going to do another UK treble in that next stitch. And then we're going to do the same to that one. So we're going to yarn over, go between those 2 stitches, yarn over and pull up nice and tall, and then we're going to yarn over, go back in, yarn over and pull up nice and tall, yarn over, go back in, yarn over and pull up nice and tall. And again we're going to go through all of those except the last one. Then we'll yarn over and go through the last 2, skip one and go into the next with a UK treble. And then, you've guessed it, we're going to do the same thing again. So we're going to yarn over between those stitches, yarn over, pull up nice and tall, yarn over, back through, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, back in, yarn over, pull up, and then we're going to go through all of them except for the last one, and we're going to go through the last 2. Okay, so that is our repeat all the way along until we get to the last few remaining stitches. So I will pause the video then, and I'll catch up with you once I've got to my last few stitches, and I'll show you how we end the row. Okay, so I have a few stitches remaining. So in this one, I'm going to do my last one of this row. Does help if you pull it this way when you're doing this stitch. So I'm going to skip one and do a UK treble in my last stitch and try and get through the 2 loops. There we are. Okay, so now we're going to turn our work, but before we do, we'll have a little look, make sure that they all look quite nice, because sometimes if it looks like a beehive where it's small at the bottom and tall at the top, you may have not been pulling up consistently. So it does help if when you're pulling up your loops you keep them nice and consistent. So I'm just going to chain one and pull it down. You don't have to do that, but in my first stitch I'm just going to do a UK double crochet, and then I'm going to go into my, well, it's a bit tight, but I need to go into my first stitch. Well, that's actually not the tight one, is it? There's the tight one, and then into the next one. So basically each bead has 2 stitches, which is fine because you've skipped one, so you need to go into both of those stitches, into there, and then into the one where you pulled through the 2. So that was where you pulled through all of them, and that was where you pulled through 2. So we're just going to do that all the way along. Nice and simple. I'll stay with you on this round, big row. Why is it when it's a row, I always call it a round? And then when I'm doing a square, I'll say row, when it quite clearly is a round. It's just one of those mysteries of life. Okay, so we're nearly there. Might as well just stick with it. Okay, nearly there. And when you get to the end, you're going into this one, and then you must remember to go into your very last one. And now we'll turn, and we're going to repeat this row again. So if you, just to refresh your memory, the first one is my stack, and then one into the next stitch, UK treble crochet, and then we're going to yarn over, go between those, and see what I mean. If you pull it to the side, your work, it's easier to kind of do that. Pull through all of those except for the last one. So you've got 2, and then pull through both of those, skip 1 into the next. So we're going to repeat that row all the way along. Skip 1 into the next. Okay, I'll pause that then, and once I have got all the way to the end of this row, I will catch up with you and I will show you how to complete the row again, just in case you've forgotten. Okay, so I'm all the way to the end. Now, even if sometimes when you have pulled up nice, you just pull those down a little bit to make them nice and even, and they do kind of all line up nice and evenly. So once you've got to your last couple of stitches, 1 in the last one. Okay, so this time around, where's my swatch? There it is. Remember I said that I'll show you how to do this slightly different. Well, these 3 pattern rows, which is like 6 rows, were done this way, and that's how it looks. It's nice, it's nothing wrong with that. But I'm going to show you how to get a little bit more space between them. That there is a little bit of yarn that didn't take the dye, so just ignore that. But yeah, okay. So we're going to turn, and we're going to do our first stitch as normal. So we're going to go into our first stitch, and then instead of going into the small one, you go into the space. So then we've got 1 in the bead, 1 in the space, 1 into the bead, and 1 into the space. Okay, we just keep doing that all the way to the end. Nearly didn't go into the space there. I'll stick with you because it's not very far. Okay, so we're nearly there. We've got 1 more left. So we go into our bead. Mustn't forget to go into the space and then into our last stitch, which is that stack. And as you can see, it pulls them apart just that little bit. I mean, they are apart anyway because you've skipped 1, but it just makes them a little bit more defined. So it depends what look you're going for. If you want them kind of nice and close, then those 3 rows, the way I showed you in the beginning. But if you want them further apart for any reason, then by going into the space, you create that little bit of distance between. It's not massive, but that's it. So that's how to do the bead stitch, and you just carry on repeating rows 1 and 2 until, well, actually it was rows 2 and 3 because the first row we started on a UK double crochet, but in a way it is still row 1 and 2, isn't it? So yeah, that's it. That's the repeat, and I think it's a really lovely stitch. So yeah. Now don't forget, the left-handed version of this tutorial is straight after. I'll put a timestamp in the description box, and so if you want to go straight to the left-handed one, you can. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye for now. Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet Rocks. Tracy here, and this is a very textured stitch. It's called the ripple stitch. It must have another name, I guess, but I don't know it. But I'm going to show you how to do this. It looks difficult, but it really isn't. It's nice and simple. And I've done this one swatch with, it's a very thick DK yarn. So it gives it an awful lot more texture, so it kind of looks much chunkier. But I'm going to pause this video for a second while I get ready to start this tutorial. And in the meantime, if you've not done so already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button or the notification bell. And if you follow me on TikTok, don't forget to follow. Okay, so I'm using this colour for the tutorial and a 4.5mm crochet hook, but you could use any yarn and corresponding crochet hook, that's fine. You just need scissors and a darning needle if you're making anything, but this is just a swatch. So I'm going to do this now is a multiple of 4. So a multiple of 4 stitches plus 2. Okay, it's just a 1 row repeat. So I'm going to make my chain in multiples of 4. And for that, we just yarn over and pull through. So that's a chain, nice and simple. Okay, so that is my 4. I'm going to pause it and do some more chaining, which if I count, I'm sure it'll be off-putting to you guys. So I'll pause it then and come back to you once I have my length of chain. Okay, so I've done my multiples of 4 and I'm now going to add 2 as the pattern suggests. Okay, so now we are going to go in the second chain from the hook. So there's the first one, here's the second. I'm going to insert, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both of those. That is a UK double crochet or a single crochet in the US. So if I refer to a double crochet and you follow in the US terms, you'll know I mean single. And I'm going to do 1 of those in every single chain all the way along this row. So I think I did 30 chain in all. So that was 28 plus 2. So I'm going to pause it then because this is a little boring to watch me go all the way to the end. So I will catch up with you once I've done all of my stitches. Okay, so I've made it all the way to the end of the row. Okay, so we're going to turn our work, and I'm not going to chain or anything like that, but in my first stitch I'm going to do a stack double crochet, which is in the UK a stack double, but it's a stack single in the US. So I'm going to insert my hook, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both. And then in this 1 bar at the side here, insert my hook, yarn over and pull up, yarn over and pull through 2. So as you can see, that's like chaining twice, but it's a bit of a fatter stitch. Now in the same stitch, I'm going to do 2 UK trebles. So that is 3 loops on the hook and through 2 and through 2. Again, yarning over and pulling up a loop through 2 and through 2. Okay, so what we're going to do now is skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th one we're going to do a UK double crochet. We're going to chain 3, and in the same stitch we're going to do 3 UK treble crochets. So this is kind of setting up our pattern now. We're going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3. In the 4th, we're going to do a UK double crochet. So we're getting these waves. We're going to chain 3. And we're going to make 3 UK trebles in that same stitch. And then skip 3, 1, 2, 3. In the 4th, chain 3 and do trebles. I thought I hadn't yarned over then. It does seem a very strange pattern, doesn't it? 1, 2, 3 in the 4th, a UK double crochet, 3 chain, and now 3 trebles in the same space. So I haven't paused it because it is a little odd, and I thought I would stick with you all the way to the end. 1, 2, 3 in the 4th, a UK double crochet, chain 3, and 3 treble crochets in that next stitch. Skip 1, 2, 3 in the 4th one. We're going to start our pattern all over again. So don't race off thinking that, you know, the next row is the same, slightly different. 1, 2, 3 in the last stitch. All we're going to do is our UK double crochet. So that's how it's looking, like waves at sea. Okay, so we're going to turn our work, and in this first stitch we're going to make our stack. So remember, in the UK it's a stack double, in the US it's a stack single. So if I say stack, you'll know which one I mean, whichever you follow. In the same stitch we're going to place 2 more UK treble crochets. Okay, so this is where our pattern starts. This was really setting it up. But in our third of our trebles, which is 1, 2, 3, so basically the one before the chain spaces, we're going to do a front post double crochet in the UK, front post single crochet in the US, not to get confused with the treble, okay, like the normal front post stitches. So we're going to go in between it. We're going to put our hook this side of it, come out the other. Okay, we're going to yarn over and pull up our loop. We're going to yarn over and pull through both of those. Now we're going to chain 3, and in our chain space make the 3 trebles. Now we're going to skip all of this, and around that third UK treble we're going to do our front post double crochet. We're going to chain 3, and now we're going to go into this chain space and make our 3 treble crochets. Whoops. So we're now making waves the other way. Okay, so we're skipping these. We're going to go into that last treble, do the front post double crochet, chain 3, in this space 3 trebles. And in our last one we're skipping these 2, our front post double crochet, 3 chain, into the chain space with 3 treble crochets. Okay, we're just going to continue almost to the end of the row. We're nearly there, so I'll stay with you. This one. Okay, so we're at our last wave, and all we're going to do, we're not going to do anything around any stitches, we're just going to place 1 in our last stitch. Okay, and that's now our repeat row, but as you can see it's very textured, and I think it also depends on the yarn that you use. When I did this one you can really see those kind of changes. It seemed a bit thicker, this yarn, and because it's classed as a DK, I used the same hook, but it's a lot thicker and chunkier. So now we're going to turn our work and we're going to repeat that row. So in that first stitch we're going to make the stack and 2 UK trebles in the same place. And then we're going to go over here, do our front post around this stitch. We're going to chain 3, and in that chain space there make our 3 UK treble crochets. I'm going to skip all of these, and in that one at the end we're going to do our front post, chain 3, and in this chain space 3 treble crochets. So that's the repeat. I'm going to do that all the way to the end. So I'm going to this time pause the video because you've seen this a few times, and I'll catch up with you once we get to the end of the row. Okay, so I've made it all the way to the end. We're not going around this one, we're just going to go into the last stitch with a UK double crochet. So that's our repeat. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, rather than end off there, I'm going to do a few more rows and then come back and show you how it looks. Okay, so I've done a few and that's how it's looking. So I think this is a really nice stitch for making things like scarves and infinity scarves or a shawl or anything that's kind of interesting texture. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you liked that one, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye for now.